Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Good morning, it's Friday. Oh, you know what? I need to put this on my checklist. I need to just rewrite it. Come on. Is that my light? My light's not working. Oh my gosh. Well, we're gonna have to figure that out later, I guess. Oh wait, there it is. Ba-ba-da. Okay, cool. So anyways, I've seen this day before, and it happens one of two ways. One is all the guys in equities turn around and they start taking profits, and we have like a huge move down. And two is that absolutely fucking nothing happens because it's Friday. So that's what we're kind of looking at today. We do have retail sales, so that could move us here. I'm gonna just go back and look at the charts. Pretty big move up overnight in the Treasuries, but hasn't really affected the equities a ton. Just a little bit of a move down in the equities because the move is driven largely by concerns over global tensions with Iran. So yeah, that's basically where we're at. We'll see what we got after the retail sales. You guys are okay. Let's see here. Yep, Dennis says first I would like to see retail sales, and IQ says big NR at your favorite number 154.12. Why is that my favorite number? Mm. Mm-mm-mm. Okay, well I don't completely understand that one, but Dennis thinks that ZB UB may be a nice buying opportunity here. Okay. Anyways, and then here J Constance. What I don't get is there are only about 17 million Bitcoin. Let's say one Bitcoin equals 10K. 17 MX 10K equals around 170 billion. 56% of coin market cap equals Bitcoin. So is Bitcoin sold out? I think they sell fake Bitcoin. Well, I tell you what's happening is that somebody is buying it with fake money. They're printing Tether and they're just moving the Tether around to buy it. And then the robots on Coinbase just buy it up. It really is like, I man, from almost any metric. I mean that fallback that we had from that last little run, definitely brought us a little bit back to reality, but we're still overbought. And I don't know how long it can stay here, but there is clearly something wrong. And so in the short term, it seems like you probably can make a little bit of money buying, but in the long term, something's going to happen, and it's going to fall apart very quickly, and you won't be able to get out, and you don't know when it's going to happen. So from my perspective, it's better to just stay out. But Bitcoin must be sold out. They cannot make more Bitcoin. Um, uh, okay, let me see if I can try and understand what you're saying. I mean, I kind of get what you're saying. You're saying one Bitcoin is 170 billion. But what is the market cap right now? 50% of coin market cap equals Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is sold out. I think they sell fake Bitcoin. Well, so like I was saying, if you're buying it with fake money, why does what you're buying have to be real Bitcoin at that point, right? But I don't think that they're sold out. There should be enough circulating around there. I mean, what does CoinMarketCap say? We got a bit of time here before the equities open, so we can look at it. Okay, that must be my mom. Hold on a second. So he's saying if you buy Bitcoin on Binance, you don't actually own Bitcoin. Oh man, this court. I'm not buying another court from these guys because it did not last very long at all. I need one of them springy ones. Anyways, if you buy Bitcoin on Binance, you don't actually own Bitcoin. I don't know. So they say that the market cap is 147 billion though. Okay. So I don't know. I do think that the way that the market is looking at right now, though, you have a very high probability of a situation where, well, what did he say? They just give you an estimated number in Bitcoin if all the people put their Bitcoin into wallets. Now, it would be question. Okay, yeah. I mean, I think you have a good point here, Jay Constant. I'm I'm not 100. I would have to think about how I would actually calculate that. I would have to think about how I would actually calculate that. I mean, the thing is you can go on the blockchain and you can see where every Bitcoin is at. And you could say, okay, this particular exchange owns this much Bitcoin. But the thing is that they can obfuscate it, or there's transactions going on. People buying and selling Bitcoin has the number of buys actually equaled the number of sells over there, or did somebody actually offer Bitcoin? You would have to do it with the exchange. It would have to be the exchange doing it, but did the exchange actually sell Bitcoins that they didn't actually have? I'm not quite sure why you would do that, because you're at that point you're creating Bitcoin, and that creates more supply, and that would make Bitcoin worth less than what it really is based on the real supply. So I don't think that would necessarily make sense, but you're definitely seeing the thing on the other side, which is they're creating fake dollars and they're creating demand that doesn't actually exist and pumping the price up with that. That appears to be happening. And so you run the risk either way, though. You run the risk of when shit goes down, you're not going to be able to get your coins. You're going to find out that they've been confiscated or they don't exist. So, you'll see. Got 3 minutes. What are the expectations here? We are looking for spot 5 versus a previous reading of spot 1, and spot 7 versus a previous reading of negative spot 2. So if these numbers are better than expected, we could have a pretty good sell here. What's your thoughts on Facebook's coin plans? So I'm not incredibly familiar with the particular project and implementation that they're doing, but my understanding was that it's not really a real cryptocurrency coin, that it's more of like a token. And so it wouldn't really have for those of us that want to trade something, that there's not really any opportunity there for it. I could look at that again, but that's why I didn't look too much into it, because it was like, well, it doesn't look like I can make money from it. So I don't. Facebook is disgusting, and I don't want to have anything to do with it. It will be a stable coin. That could be. Yeah, so my grass is coming tomorrow. my grass is coming tomorrow, and I don't know what the deal is, but I guess Melissa and my parents are like super concerned that we're not going to get everything done that we need to before the people come to put the grass in. So it's 6:30, and they're already over here doing stuff in the front yard. Facebook is digital Hitler. I tell you what, the thing that's so funny to me, one of the things. Hold on, we got 40 seconds before I can go on this rant. We got 40 seconds, so probably shouldn't be. I'm wondering though if they dump below that. I think there is a good possibility that they underperform these numbers though, because they're looking for much better numbers than last month. Remember looking for spot 5 and spot 7. Spot 5 being the core number. Okay. So that was an incredibly strong impulse. Oh, okay, there we go. Um, uh, if that had been live, I think that I would have gotten it. Okay, cool. Cool beans. But what was the actual number here? It was spot 5, and the retail sales was also spot 5. Okay. So I'm just going to let them, since I got lucky on the impulse move. You know what really pisses me off is that I've taken that trade a couple of times in the past 2 weeks, and um, I would always be like, I would be offering at 16, and can you see they skipped 16? You know, and in all the other ones this week that I got caught there, but this time I did get filled. Yeah, crazy. But I got +8. That was cool. You know what else? I only did it on one contract. Whoops. Oops. I guess in a situation like that though, I only want to do it on one contract now. I was sitting there because it went through me and then it paused, and I'm like, am I going to get +2? Oh, okay. I only did one contract, so it didn't show up. Block buy, interesting. Cool. I really need to find a way to make that P&L thing like display off of Jigsaw. Okay, so here's the thing that I find really interesting about Facebook. Big bid at 11.5, but they went through it. Yes, it's very interesting, folks. And the E-mini not really reacting still. There's still a little light over here too. Okay, so anyways, the thing that's really interesting about Facebook is that they're getting it from both sides. So I saw a picture in the China subreddit the other day where they sent a message in English basically encouraging Chinese expats to not use Facebook. Conservatives, which I think most people here fall into that category of conservatives. Conservatives think that Facebook is a part of this larger social media giants censoring speech thing, and so they don't like Facebook because of that. And liberals don't like Facebook because they claim that they're allowing conservatives to spread hate speech or something like that. So it's like, it doesn't matter what they do, they lose. It's kind of weird. And normally, in a lot of political things, you can kind of look at who are the allies and opponents of a particular um, entity, to try and figure out where their interests align and why they align the certain way that you do. And so I can look at it as like, well, okay, this this prominent Democrat or whatever loves Facebook or something like that, right? But you can't do that in this case because everybody hates them. Isn't that weird? And yeah, I don't know if I think, though, of the social media giants, when it comes to politics and power, first and foremost, I look at who I'm not allowed to criticize. Yeah. Well, now the other thing with Facebook is that I think that when I look at the different social media giants, okay, so like Twitter, I think Twitter has some ideas about the way things should be that they just don't know how to deal with, right? They have conflicting ideas and they want it to be good, but they can't, and they make these algorithms, and maybe the algorithm is too hard or too not. Because when you listen to Jack Dorsey talk about it, it seems like he wants to do the right thing, but they're having a hard time balancing the competing interests. Because honestly, so I saw yesterday that Jordan Peterson is going to support a social network where the only way that you can get banned is if a court orders it. I think that that can be a problem because he would have to it would have to do something to ensure that you can only make one account. Because if I can just go in and make as many bots as I want, and they can't ban the bots, then how is that going to work? It's just going to be spam, and it's you're not going to have good content, right? So I'm going to be interested to see how that works. But the point is that especially for Twitter, if anytime you ever said anything on Twitter, you got endlessly harassed for it by everybody, nobody would want to use the service. So they have to enforce some kind of media standard, and that media standard is going to have to be somewhat that, like, if I post something, um, you know, like I'm LDS, so if I post something on Twitter, that would be really retarded if anytime I posted something, people started saying anti-LDS things to me. I wouldn't want to post on that service anymore, right? And it's the same with any kind of marginalized status, like if you were black or Hispanic or whatever the deal was, right? But then you enter into this fuzzy zone where it's like, okay, but if you criticize Islam, that you should be legitimately able to do that, right? I don't think that that's making the service a place where people don't want to participate anymore. But how do you balance those things out? I don't think anybody has a really good answer to it. But I think it's pretty clear that Twitter took it too far, right? Um, YouTube, on the other hand, YouTube looks completely complicit here. Like large media giants like Vox are having trouble competing with YouTube creators, and YouTube is enabling those companies by shutting down the independent creators and helping the big creators, because they're basically saying, "Oh, uh, we can actually get more money from these big media guys than we can from all of these little guys." And I think that you're kind of cannibalizing the site because that's how what it turned into to begin with. But I mean, that's the way that YouTube started, was the small users. So you're kind of cannibalizing your own website. But when I look at this ad apocalypse thing that's been happening over the past week, it looks like YouTube is completely complicit, right? And then I look at Facebook, and when I look at Facebook, Zuckerberg just seems clueless to me. You know what I mean? It's like they're doing everything wrong and everybody hates them, but they really don't understand why they're doing what they're doing, or why people hate them, or what they're supposed to do, or anything like that. And the funny thing with the Facebook is that the real problem here is not. I don't think that the real problem here is Facebook. Um, Dennis says, "Wait, did I tune into C-SPAN? I don't know if we was talking about what we're talking about here, but we're just chatting. Listen, look, we are a show focused on markets for sure, right? But sometimes, um, you know, there's not a finance stuff to talk about all the time, and there's other interesting things to talk about, and we kind of just get to chat like we're chatting with people. I think that's the fun of it. I don't want to touch this until, man. So what did I get? I got 14 to 10. No, I didn't get 14 to 10, did I? No, I got 15 to 11. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes. So I got 15 to 11. We're a few ticks below. They're kind of ranging around here in this area. So I in that case, taking the profit again was the right choice. But I don't know. It's kind of weird. They seems like they could go lower, but I think that they're going to need to calm down a little bit first, and until they've calmed down, maybe another 5 minutes. Okay. So, anyways, Facebook. Um, the problem is not necessarily Facebook, the company. I think the problem is the social media format, because the social media format has become take what's already popular and amplify that. Do you? I don't understand why the people writing these algorithms don't realize that this is a problem. In Dig, they realize that this is a problem. Because Dig, they said, okay, just because something is popular among a certain subset of users doesn't mean that we want to send it to the front page. And so they had to ensure that it had a broad enough support among the larger community to push it through. And so on Dig, you almost never got stuff that was, controversial, I guess you could say, until the Huffington Post came along and they created so many accounts and gamed the algorithm. Reddit never had any such protection, or at least wasn't very good. And so you've always gotten stuff hitting the front page that is from one particular interest group. Pushing for lower anyways, maybe due to revised prior months. Let's see here. Do I see something about that? Trump says he will bring back former ICE Director Tom Homan to be border czar. Retail sales year-over-year growth slows in May's revisions prompt GDP upgrades. Sales revision means quarter 2 GDP revised higher by spot 2. Wow. I don't see what the previous was. They changed it significantly though. Was the data that bad? Was that good? Treasuries going down, that means that it was good data, right? I think there was a thing the other day that they did an investor survey, and they said that like 60% of CFOs are expecting a recession in the second half of 2020. I think that was way overdone, and today's data and the Treasury market reaction to it bears that out. But it's incredibly hard for me to really say what's what because we're still above yesterday's prices. Yes, it is flattening. Depends on which side. I suppose the 2 and 10-year spread steepening a bit is a good thing, though. I don't understand why one side would steepen and one side would flatten, but I just know that we don't want the 210 to invert, right? So a little bit of steepening is good. Last night when I checked before bed, it looked like they were going to push through the highs. So if we hadn't have had the move from Iran, um, that's what I'm going to call it, the move from Iran. uh, so if we were still opening around 127.05 and we moved down, we would probably be below 127 again at this point, and maybe even lower. You would maybe have a significant reversal and lower high in treasuries that could push us lower. But because, okay, in my opinion, long end steepen later, short end often the first to steepen. Okay. Thank you for that, alligator. Okay, so now we're back to 11 again. We could take another trade around here. Like that right there. It's still a little wild. I kind of feel like if I got 128 that I should just be happy with it, but also I would rather get short at 11. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't know if I would actually get filled there. Well, okay, they cleared it once. Trump, I am in no rush for a nuclear deal with North Korea. Okay. As long as Donald Trump is speaking, it's probably best to not touch this, huh? Oh, somebody wanted to see the Bitcoin futures cumulative delta. So let's post that for them. They are buying the Bitcoin futures, but it's not it's not beyond what they had already sold, you know? And the other thing is that it kind of seemed like they went short as soon as they rolled over. They tend to want to try and continue that trend through the whole contract, you know? So that maybe somebody will come out and, well, when's the thing end? Yeah, next week. So they might come out and sell it next week. It looks like 11 was all that they was willing to give. That's interesting. Well, there would have been one contract filled. Trump asked about North Korea's breaking of sanctions, says everybody breaks sanctions. What the hell? You know what? It's really hard to read these headlines from Twitter. Because you know that when he's saying it live that it might not he likes to troll people with the nuance of it, right? That but then when I so it's always like I'll read it on Twitter and I'm like, what the hell? That's bullshit. Why would he say that? But then when I actually go and see the comment, I'm like, oh, okay, that's dumb that he would say it like that, but it makes sense. Good morning, Ace. Well, I was saying that so now that he's here, I have to think about the E-mini. I was thinking about that the E-mini could go short today, but given this just great retail sales data, I'm not would be a little bit worried about selling it now. Which you don't get the verbal inflection, yeah. Well, it's not just the verbal inflection. So like one example, well, or the perfect example really is the bigger story that's going around right now, which is that Donald Trump said that he would accept help from a foreign entity because he's saying after the whole first thing came about, he came out and said more about it, and he said, well, he was talking about if I'm sitting in a meeting with an ally and the ally says, hey, I know this thing about your political opponent, they did X in my country or something like that. And Donald Trump says, yeah, I would listen to them. Well, what's happening is the media is doing something a little clever here about the laws that I don't think that anybody is really thinking about yet. And that is, you're not allowed to accept anything of value from a foreign entity. But can a foreign entity give you something that is not a thing of value? Because there's kind of a very fine legal zone there about what is actually a thing of value, right? For instance, if you contribute anything of value to a campaign, you as an American citizen, the campaign has to report it, right? So if you let's say that you did opposition research and you wrote a big report and then you gave it to the campaign, that would be a thing of value because normally you would pay to get that report. And so the campaign would look at the report and what they would have paid to have gotten that report. And then they report that as a campaign contribution with that amount. And you track those aggregate contributions to ensure that that particular person is not giving over the federal limit allowed, because they could say, you're only allowed to give like, what is it, like $2,500, but then you did all of these other things that actually add up to more than $2,500. So you've kind of gotten around it by paying for the things and then giving it to the campaign, and that's what that law is intended to get around, right? Okay, so if I was talking to a regular American citizen, and they said, just while I'm shaking hands, and they said to me, hey, I know this thing about your opponent, they did X, and it's a tip. And then you can turn around and you can go and find out more about it and turn it into something more. Okay. Is that anything of value? Well, if you're going to file the campaign contribution to the FEC, what would you put the monetary value on it as? I mean, if it was a good enough piece of information, it's worth millions of dollars potentially, right? But then again, you're talking about something that is not normally paid for, and so it is difficult, if not impossible, to attach an actual monetary value to it. And therefore, there is a legal argument, I believe, that it's not actually a thing of value. Right? So, Donald Trump sitting there in this thing, Stephanopoulos asks him this question. He knows exactly what's going on. And he decides to say the controversial thing just to throw the media a bone and have them, freaking out over here. And then he just turns around and he says, well, no, like in the very narrow exception that I thought you were talking about, it's legal. Right? So then you get into this whole thing where it's like, okay, so can you actually accept help from a foreign entity? I think there actually is a situation where you could receive information like that from a foreign entity and it would be illegal, because if it's provided, the right information is provided in the right way, it's not a thing of value. But I don't think that it would ever actually happen, because if a nation had a thing of value like that, why wouldn't they just give it to the media at that point, right? So it would probably never happen. So really, the whole thing is just a troll, right? It's a nothing burger. And do you get all of that from reading the Twitter headline? No. You just read the Twitter headline and you're like, what the fuck? Why would he say something like that? He's crazy, right? So here, he's saying everybody breaks the sanctions and it's not a big deal. I don't necessarily understand the context of why he's saying that. Other than that, probably it's true that everybody tries to break the sanctions. But certainly it's breaking some of them are serious, and I don't know if what North Korea did was serious enough to warrant action or not, but just rig it all, market selections, bought and paid. Well, so here's another thing that I don't want to say confuses me, but I guess I find interesting about it, is that they're saying, well, it's really bad for foreign entities to come in and try and influence the American election. Well, I mean, there's totally this thing like you don't want some entity trying to cause the American public to do something that's against their best interests, right? And there's all sorts of, psychological games at that point. Like, if they say something, and is that really what we should do or what not, or how do you get through that? But the way that I reconcile it in my mind is, okay, so it's a bad thing for the American public to have more information about their political candidates. You know what I mean? Obviously, they could only give them out that information out about one candidate, but that's when it comes into that anybody that has information about a political candidate that could be relevant to voters should get it out in the open, right? Whether it's a foreign entity or not, I think that that's what they should do. Because I just don't think that you can sit down and say that having that the American voter is better off having less information. You know what I mean? Ace says I'm short 28.9150. I don't know, bro. I can see the short actually, but I just don't want to be, given that the Treasuries moved so far off of that retail sales data. It would be really weird for them to then come and have a sell day in the E-mini, and yet the E-mini barely moved off of the news. So maybe the short is in order. Now, on the other hand, if the E-mini actually like moves, then you could probably get a pretty strong correlated move in the Treasuries. Well, there's 11 to 8, so that's 6. Kept waiting for 28.92 again and thought it might break up your speech. Yeah, I was going there. You can tell when you've reached into a subject that I've been thinking about, right? Because I have like the whole line of thought placed out in my head. I think one of the problems that I have is that like especially in face-to-face conversation, so most people aren't willing to sit and go through a line of logic and reasoning that's that long. Right, because at a certain point they're like, well, this guy is crazy, he's supporting foreign actors interfering in our election, that's crazy. But I don't know, it's just I get into it and then it just goes. 28.92. I'm actually buying up the Bitcoin pretty strongly here. I think I want to change this. I don't want it to be 1,000 volume. I want it to be like 500 volume. This chart. And then I'm going to close it down actually. So that I can see that the regular E-mini DOM. Seems like Bitcoin is buying a little too strongly this morning though. They already took the loss on it. He only took like -2 ticks on it. What about that right there? Would buy that? It would need to come back a little bit, I think. He says nope, they can have it. Well, that was a good call on getting out. You got out and then had a much stronger impulse past it. I don't know if I could buy 28.94 though. That's a little. You know that the second I buy it, they turn it around and they try and go towards the low end of that range again. It's always bad to be getting in at that spot in the range. They may just go. I would like to see them come back here and get me. But we'll see. And I also get this thing like, if they come back and get me, do I really, do you really still want it, you know? Treasuries pulling back here again. You're getting a kind of a descending triangle sort of a thing. Measured move off of the low is 28.99. That's a good level, Harry. I appreciate that. Yeah, there's some significance in those prices. They really want me to just buy 28.94. I'm thinking that what's going to happen is they're going to bust through here and go another tick higher. But I've gotten screwed on that too many times. I just know better that even if they do, you just see it's slow right now, right? You don't want to buy the high end of the range when it's acting like that because they could totally make it do whatever they want. Means move through the low is 28.82. And Ace says tempted at 28.93.50 to go along there. I don't know. I think that they might come back and try and visit this part of the profile here. But I don't actually know what I'm talking about. 28.94 is a VWAP. Yeah, oh, good point. Good point. They've actually already bounced off of the VWAP once, so second visit they could go through it. Treasuries just look incredibly heavy. Capping it now. This is another thing is when I look at my chart here, look at how disorganized the treasuries are now here around 08.5. That doesn't mean that there's not another leg in this move or that there's not another trade, but what it does mean is that you taking it and pretty much anywhere within this area, you're likely to just get bullied around. They can and will do anything. Yep. So if we're going to take a trade here, we've got to get a reasonably good price on it. I'm looking at it now and I'm concerned if they do come back to me. Oh, that was interesting. Maybe it's just my imagination. When I pulled that, I thought that I saw it go down at multiple prices. I think that if they come back here, I don't think that my price, that 28.92 is exactly the right spot. Because there's this order right here at 91.50. And then there's this one at 90. Oh, he took the short at 28.93.50. Okay. Well, treasuries, I don't know. They're not giving us a whole lot to work off of here right now, are they? E-mini does look like it's coming back a bit. Ace isn't giving it much room, huh? It's awfully slow all of a sudden, isn't it? Oh, I should change it back over here. Oh, you know what? I never did. I never changed the date. Let's fix that. Okay. That the treasuries to me are very much in like a. This is a spot that I normally like to try and trade, but as of late I've starting to think that I'm not very good in that area and I shouldn't be trying. Like you could maybe buy a half, but that would be against the momentum. Is probably not advisable. Uh, you could maybe sell '09 or '09 half. You know, and another thing that's kind of interesting about this treasury move is that they didn't really stack behind it, did they? I mean, look at the Vista chart. It's like really there's like pock marks everywhere and stuff. It's a very I've never seen it quite like that before. Can you guys hear that noise outside? They're moving the piece of metal around in the dirt, and the vibration is coming through the dirt and into the house. I don't know if you can actually hear that. I can hear it. Wait. Oh, it's too low for the it's too low for the expander. It just cuts it out. My microphone settings are too good, guys. Well, now I'm getting a little frustrated because um I would like I really want to take a long in the E-mini. But it's now like 7:13. So it's kind of like starting to get into well, I mean, if it's going to come down to a price that I think I can take, it's probably going to be another 5 minutes. And then at that point I'm going to be wary about taking it long because the open and all that. You know? We have other news today. Capacity utilization rate. Oh, that's in 2 minutes. The 7:15 news. And consumer sentiment, inflation expectations. How are you liking the new equipment in the office? I saw that on Facebook. Oh yeah, did you see it on the Facebook page that we made, huh? Well, the new monitor I think has made a big difference. Um, because I can see all of the chat that I need to. It's great. I kind of want another one for the charts, but whatever. I don't need more charts. What I've got on charts is more than enough. Um, and then the light. I have mixed feelings on the light because on one hand, I think that it's a little bit too much. Like the light costs more than it should. But on the other hand, it is a really nice light and it makes a huge difference. I mean, look at the camera. It looks so much better. When you take it, if I turn the light off here, you know, like it's totally different and you can't really see me nearly as well. But then we do that, everything evens out. It looks great. They're going to go for it now in the in treasuries, huh? All right. Oh, there was the industrial production numbers. That's what it was. Okay. So we're getting 78 spot 1 versus an expected 78. Industrial production was spot 4 versus spot 2. That's good. I think that we should get at least to 05 today. Right? That was kind of the area that we had a lot of balance at yesterday. And now you can kind of see equities trading it. Oh, Uzi saying you should have sold OA. Yeah. I really want to buy the E-mini, but I don't think I can. I'm like, okay, that's a little better. Okay, so Treasuries did touch 05 half. Was that like point of control? No, point of control was oh 05. Hmm. Hmm. I tell you what though, this could just be a trend day, and then they could just go whoosh. Maybe you should have kept that one on, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it could have gotten to 16, 17, 18. I don't know. I probably wouldn't have held it through all that because there was a pretty big pullback back to, yeah. This is where I'm like, I should hold it. They can keep going. It's because that sort of thing happens. I just don't know when that particular thing is going to happen. Well, I guess I should know because the the change from the retail sales number really changes things. Huh. So all of the numbers are good. The issue is still we've had a pretty good week in the E-mini so far, anyways. Yeah, was it the 10th? I guess it's actually been flat to up, but I'm wondering if maybe there are people, sell at the end of the week sort of a thing. Hmm. Getting away from me. I was just noticing that they kind of pulled there, but then they didn't trade it. 28.92.50. Bank of England giving a speech right now. They already released the text of it. Looks like I already missed it. So right now it's doing exactly what I thought it was going to do. They came down to here and then they went back up to the other side of this range. Are they going to break out though? No comments on monetary policy from Carney. Oh, when ZB touched 154 even, I guess that's another critical level. In the 10-year, I'm still noticing not nearly as much stacking on the offers as you would expect to see on such a strong downtrend. But they are doing a little bit of an 08 now where we broke through. And they're pumping it again. So now that is above the previous swing high. Ace is out with a loss. Treasuries trading quite a bit of volume here at 06. Whoa, what is going on in the 5-year? That's some crazy buying. Was that a push to get filled, sort of a thing? See, this is exactly why I don't want to buy 28.94. That move in the 5-year is weird. I really don't know what to make of that. It could just be profit taking. But that profit taking is hitting into some significant icebergs, I think. Uptick. Well, now it's just too close to the open, so kind of the way that I thought it might. Huge Hong Kong protest planned for Sunday. Will Communist Party chairman Xi even show his face at G20? Well, that wouldn't be very good if he didn't show up. You know, the thing that's really funny about the market right now is that for all of the drama over the Chinese trade war, and that's really what got treasuries to these elevated levels, it seems like that people aren't really all that interested in talking about China right now. Okay. That's weird. So it's kind of going around these three prices in the micro E-mini while the regular E-mini isn't doing any such thing. Okay. Probably some individual stock news. Now you're sitting there. Oh, I wish I had about 28.94. Treasury is still coming up though. They're coming into the big offers now. Hmm. That weekend they're having trouble taking it. I don't want to take it going into the equity open, but I think he can go short here somewhere. Okay. Oh, I posted in the wrong channel. Deleted. Deleted. I don't know, Ace. I think that maybe your guy at the CME is messing with us today. Jack Dorsey is now our chance to build a global currency for the internet. Why does Jack look like he's about to cite the whole My Chemical Romance discography at me? They making... Okay, here comes the open. They did come back to kind of the area that I wanted to trade. There wasn't a clear, like, right off of the open impulse, unfortunately. So I again have to wait. Oh yes, because Jack Dorsey owns Square. Having trouble with that 28.92. That's where I wanted to buy. Let's just play a game. If YOLO Seth went long 28.92. I doubt it could go lower today. Wide range, waiting yes open, and next data loop at the top of the hour. That's a good point. So this order flow is not screaming anything at me. It's actually pretty slow. Nope. See, YOLO Seth would be getting royally screwed right now. This is why we're not YOLO Seth. Pi Network on Google Play gives you free coins every hour. I'll have to check that out. I need to check my shit coins. Haven't looked at them in a few days. I was feeling really good about my garlic coin, and then they got delisted from CoinFalcon, so I was like, crap. I probably should start giving away some garlic coins. I need to go and take some stuff out of the cold wallet and put it in a place that's easier to get to, so that we can give them away. And then if you guys all create garlic wallets, we'll just make some transfers. It'd be fun. One garlic coin at a time. See, hate that. Came back up. It's kind of saying, hey. And then they come back down. And then they come back down to 28.8850. There's a little bit of absorption there. But they clear it. I don't know what happens. They go lower or not. It's hard for me to tell. I don't know if it really matters in the ES. You know? Trump says US wants to get Iran back to the negotiating table. I'm ready whenever Iran is ready. No rush. So this is curious. They be selling. Okay. Five minutes after. So far, I'm reading that right. Oh, come on, don't stop there, please. Makes me anxious. Well, I definitely caught something, but yeah. Okay, well that move down was a little uh wasn't too impressive by the sellers. You're not getting buyers coming in though on that. Okay. Somebody holding it there now. They're going to push through them. Yeah. I think I'm happy that I got what I did. Um, but I think maybe there's just a little bit of luck of the draw in it, you know? Okay, now I'm seeing some change in the treasuries again. Or sorry, in the treasuries. What the hell are they doing? What is going on? You step in front of the train. You were right. Well, the thing that was crazy about it was that it looked to me like the train went off. The reason I took that was because when they went down, the train went off the cliff. And I knew there was a possibility of a reversal there. And so the thing that made me so happy was the instant after I took it, it definitely did that where they said, oh, we overextended and then they went higher. But then it wasn't a super strong thing, you know? They could pull it out here still. Um, I mean, the I can see the delta changing to higher. I'm also, though, a little bit weirded out by what's happening over here in Treasuries. Like, I don't understand how we were able to get all the way back up to 10, which was, I mean, off of that last piece of news, we had a really, really strong sell, right? So to retrace it like that is a little unusual, and the cumulative delta on it was so much too. I need to back my chart up a little bit. Is that it's not quite, it doesn't quite cancel out the news, but that was a strong buy in treasuries there. They I don't know. So there the E-mini tried that low again, and again it's still kind of not impressive. But I'm not. It seems like maybe I didn't catch as good of a spot as it initially appeared, you know? Come on. I do see some. Man, it's ticking a lot. That ZB is doing it again. Strong buying in the ZB. Got that 739 at 09. Hey, Uzi, that's where you wanted to sell it. You still want to sell it? The other thing that's a little frustrating here in the E-mini is that we've got this range here. I'm okay. I'm in an okay spot within the range, but they seem to be spending more time at the bottom of it than the top of it. Hmm. Okay, well, when they got down to the bottom, I thought that that sell was pretty unimpressive, but that buy is pretty unimpressive too. Okay, significant downtick in the treasuries there. That's a little better. Starting to see some stops here now in the micro. That's kind of sad. Not exactly where I want to see stops, though, is it? Overall, delta is not encouraging. Hmm. USB economist put on leave after comments on food inflation in China. Huh. Is Donald Trump still speaking to? No, that was 11 minutes ago. I'm just trying to figure out why the market is behaving the way that it is right now. Kind of just maybe it's just doing the meat grinder, but the way it's ticking in the E-mini kind of seems like more um, uh, it's very lively, you know. Well, there's an attempt at lower. That was a much stronger sell, and there was some absorption, but they were, yeah, they could maybe go lower. And every time that it does that, you can see that the treasuries turn there. Treasuries actually did a false breakout too. Hmm. Okay, 09.5 went offer. Mm-mm-mm. It's a clogged toilet right now. It was the. Oh man. Once that indicator, it doesn't display in real time though, right? Which one are you talking about? There's a lot of stuff on the screen, right? uh, okay, now '09 is going offer. The 5-year definitely came out. The 30-year is still kind of one kind of. They're still doing the spread thing. Like the 30-year wants to go up compared to the other ones. So if we're gonna move down again, we'd want to see it over here in the 5-year making it. Okay. So that impulse was a little bit higher and is encouraging in the E-mini. Don't be greedy. I'm trying to keep to the plan because to be honest, right now, and I don't know if I'm being quiet because I'm a little nervous or if I'm nervous because I'm being a little quiet, but I feel a little nervous right now for sure because um, this is a pretty chippy area in the ES. And when they've decided to go for these areas, like when they were down there, it would be like we'd be here and we'd get down there so fast, you know? I don't like that. But the whole thing here is take one at 10 and then I can let the rest ride and see what we get. And I want to stick to that. Otherwise, it just kind of screws up all of your stats. That's the reason take profit. But it's also like I think the whole thing about the take profit is like if it gives you a reversal signal, then yeah, you want to take the profit. But it's not giving me that. I don't know. Look at that. Come on. Two more. Well, there's a little iceberg at 28.8875. Okay. Touched but not filled. Oof. That's not the kind of behavior I want to see right at my price. Come on. There we go. Whew. Okay. Now I can kind of relax, I think. And if I take this at, okay, 95, could do. Let's just see. This is where we got to babysit it, because if I see like really clear stop action, not, like what we saw down here, not like what we just had, then I want to take it off. Overall, though, I mean, you're getting a pullback, but overall things look okay. It looks happy here at IB midpoint in 154.09. I don't know. The 5-year does not look happy. Oh, no way. Actually, they did get an uptick. Okay. Well, so the thing is that we're back in the range, but they did extend the range. There was some good volume on the upside there. So I don't like seeing them come down like this, but yeah, I should still be hands off. Yeah, the treasuries over here, the longs look scared. Like when they get a little bit of volume in the E-mini, they tick down. They bail. The bigger issue here, though, is of course is that it looks like I caught a good enough spot, but I didn't pick the best spot in ES, right? Mm, okay. That's unfortunate, but it's okay too. And now I think we just wait for the 8 o'clock news. Mm. Now, the thing that I find interesting about this sell, um, I guess there was a little bit of action there up at the top that could have made me get out. How many ticks did I actually get out of that? 13. So I got the 10 and then I got 13. Hmm. I don't know. I didn't get any slippage on that though, so that's cool. It was a scratch. Mm-mm-mm. Oops. That it came down and made a new low, I think, kind of is probably a good reason for me to think twice about buying it now, huh? Especially going into this, uh, consumer sentiment numbers and stuff. I'm surprised. Treasuries really, really liked that. Well, do we say really liked? I mean, they moved strongly off of that retail sales number. I would have thought that equities would be more sensitive to that number than treasuries, and yet here we are. Mike Duas. To start, Bitfinex will burn revenue from trading fees only, but it will reportedly expand over the following weeks to include all revenue streams, including deposit withdrawal fees, funding fees, and further exchange products. Bitfinex translation. Bitfinex will continuously buy Leos from themselves on a highly illiquid market, artificially driving prices higher, and hope suckers start buying and holding tokens. Check out ZB. ZB is higher, yeah. It's that spread again, man. Holy cow. Hope you do not play that way when you were live, Seth, but luck is part of it. So, were you talking about my trade in equities right there? Because that was live. But I did what I was supposed to do and ended up scratching it, so I'm happy with it. I guess I'm out $2 for the commissions. The way that it's going, it kind of looks to me like, could do anything. It's just randomly moving around. I thought that we would get more than that in the first 30 minutes, but there's this news and everything. And probably don't want to be involved in this news. They're not really pulling super incredibly for it either, which I find is interesting. Okay, here's the news. Equities sell a little bit. Huh. 97.9 versus 98. Seems like okay numbers. What about inventories? Spot 5 versus spot 4. Inflation expectations. Come on. Well, I'm not quite sure what to make of that. I think that we might move higher, but um, they've gone. It's incredibly turbulent. Inflation expectations 88 spot 6 versus an estimated. Oh wait, what? That's not right. 2 spot 6 versus a previous of 2 spot 9. So inflation expectations have cooled somewhat. That's interesting. Yeah, can't seem to make anything of that. I kind of still feel like buying it, but this move up in the treasuries is. I could see myself if I hadn't made that first trade thinking that they would make it a leg lower and being short at like 11 and getting stopped out here right now in the treasuries. I don't understand what is crazy about that trade. I mean, I think I had a pretty good signal there. So I want to, if you could give me some specifics about what I did wrong there, I'd really like to know. Um, okay, so the block buy at 13.5, that could be a reversal. They're going to push through them a bit first, but wow, 13.5. That's a lot of volume to but just pushed through. Wow. Okay. Adrian says, I think your entry was too early. Okay. I kind of think I see what you mean, where like we saw the stop run. Um, I bought it immediately because I thought it was just going to turn around, but it didn't really do that. It kind of ranged around a bit before that, didn't it? Right. So I probably could have let it come back up and down and then taken it or something like that. This you can potentially sell this in treasuries. 13.5 isn't like the best spot to do it, but um, something's happening here. It's a spot at least. Although you have to ask yourself, why is it moving up so strongly? 5-10 year inflation expectations fall to lowest on record. Oh, so that news, that inflation expectation, even though it was 2.6, well, let me rephrase. Previous was 2.9. We got 2.6. That says inflation's still not coming in. That's why they're buying it. Binance is closing the doors to the USA. I read that. Yeah, isn't it interesting that all of these exchanges are closing their doors to the US? That's a real problem. When I um, when an exchange closes its doors to the United States, because everybody's always like, well, if you want to short it, you got to do it on one of those exchanges. But what is it that they're doing that is incompatible with U.S. law? You know what I'm saying? it's not it's not a positive scene. Okay, so now I'm thinking that maybe I could take it long here again. I don't know. Here's the conundrum that I'm facing right now in equities. Um, I thought that the retail sales data in particular was really good, especially the revisions and everything. And we were reading that they're actually going to have to modify GDP estimates by like spot two in order um, to adjust for that great number in the revisions. But the equities didn't buy it there, and then we just had news. And that news was what equity, well, Treasuries definitely bought it, but what equities thought of it is extremely unclear, although we have been selling today. And so I'm sitting here wanting to go long and kind of wondering, well, why are they selling it? And I don't know why. I want to buy Bitcoin below 5. I think that it will, but I don't. Here's the thing, Constant, is that um, if Bitcoin is pumping, if Bitcoin is being manipulated, 84.75 right now, if it's being manipulated, you know, the manipulators, nobody's fighting them. They can potentially manipulate it anywhere they want up until Bitfinex gets, um, what is the word? I guess I should have bought it at 28.86. That would have been a good trade. Up and until, law enforcement does something to Bitfinex, right? Um, Now, there does still appear to be some upper limit where even with their pumping, they can't seem to push it up above 200 on my indicator. But so I do think that they're going to go below 5K. I have to say, though, if they don't, oh well. Like, I just don't. That's not really a trade at that point, right? That's gambling, because you're basically gambling on if their manipulation is going to make you enough money before the hammer comes down. Hmm. Surprised that the treasuries are still here. I kind of want to short it, but not gonna get enough price. Oh, good morning, Nicholas. We was wondering where you were. Yesterday you came in early. Today it's like, it's been 90 minutes, bro. Well, now they're like, buy 28.88. Mm. So I do not understand what your trade. Are you looking at any indicators? No. No, I'm not looking at an indicator. I'm literally just watching the price action in the E-mini and trying to get a feel of when it's overextended and whether the buyer and the sellers have the advantage, and also that it's in line with what the treasuries are doing. So kind of what I'm doing is like, I would always take this trade in the treasuries like, oh, it looks like the E-mini is going to buy, so I think I should sell the treasuries here. So now I'm just watching on the other side and I'm saying, well, does it look like I want to sell the treasuries because of what's going on in the E-mini? Then I want to buy it. And I'm looking for overextension like that. So now last time we said that we took it too early. Probably in that case I was a little bit late because I really could have taken it at 88, but I do have to admit that I'm not incredibly confident about my trades in the E-mini because it's very um, I think in the E-mini I'm still in the very much the unconscious incompetence stage. You know what I mean? Like I catch some things and some stuff works out, sure, but I really don't know what I don't know in equities. Hmm. I still think that you go short in treasuries here. Like, I mean, if you could get filled, but it would be better to get 14 or for it to go a little bit further first. That sort of a thing. Waiting for breakout in ZB. Looks like that they overextended a little bit in ZB. Right now it's what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They visit 16 again. That's pretty common, but once you get below 16, then it starts to be trend is probably over. Hmm. I still feel that they're going to buy the E Mini, but I'm a little concerned that they're just going to do the meat grinder for the next 15 minutes. Nice to see ZB pausing at the 10s on that move to the upside. Oh, yeah. Wait, did they pause at 20 before they touched the 22? I don't know. Okay. So that time, that was one of the sort of the spots. I was typing, couldn't take it. But that would have been a short, right? Except for that it's against what I think is actually going to happen, so you don't take it. Oh, there's 88 again. So would you get the 2 here at 12.5? Okay. I'm kind of surprised also. Like this news, the result of that news is inflation remains muted. That's good for equities, right? It means that rates could stay low for an extended period of time. Hmm. Well, I guess not. I was looking for something a little bit more um, impulsive on that downside that we never quite got, and then you got that buy. It's strange that that buy came in and it didn't. That's really weird. It's really weird. I'm not sure what to make of that. They come right back to it. Now this time I think they should push a little bit lower because that was overdone, and look at where we're at in cumulative delta, about equal to where we were at the open. And the only reason I want to buy an E-mini is because of my reading of the fundamental data. Market clearly doesn't agree with me, or they would have already have moved. Hmm. Well, they're still holding this area a little well, but given that you've had now 2 impulsive moves higher and stuff, that's and 10 minutes before I want to go. That manipulation means you don't touch anything at least 10 minutes. Okay. You're talking about the move up to 28.90 that very quickly came back, right? I can see that. I like that idea. I'm going to start watching that and see if that's a good way of doing it. Probably it's longer in the if you see that sort of a thing in treasuries, huh? I used to see that sort of manipulation and think, something's going on. I need to get involved. Maybe it does mean something's going on, but it also means that you don't really have a clue what's going on, right? So you didn't expect that. You're getting pretty crazy divergence between cumulative delta and price, though. Resize your auction vista on ES. You just want me to resize it so that it fixes things? Mm. So I remember there was this one right here, right? There was that spike, and then it came back. It didn't do anything. The latest swings are so crazy. Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. Um, like the thing has been, they're ticking back and forth here a lot. It seems really random to me. There's also this ledge at 20. Wow. Isn't it interesting? Um, right here in the micro futures, 28.88.50, there's a drop off. I guess there's one in the equities too. I guess there's one in the micro too. Or sorry, the mini too. But I don't know. What's with that? It's some strong resistance. They're having trouble with it. We've come up above it twice, and it did like a double top sort of a thing. I think I would still prefer a long, but it's it doesn't look like the order flow supports it to me, you know? That first one that I took, I thought I had a clear entry, and you know what? It did work. I mean, it took out the first profit. I'm happy about it. I could have taken a little bit more out of it, but it's cool. Scratch. It's fine. I don't think that, by the way, in the 10-year here, I was watching 12 half to see if that would have cleared for if you had taken a short at 13 half. And it's unclear that you would. Are they going to tick up and pull this order at 14? Unpwnable fair. Can you explain what are these numbers? No, they're just numbers. No, I'm just kidding. So, seems like I'm doing this every day now, but it's okay because I enjoy explaining this. All right. So each one of these is a DOM, depth of market. Okay. These ones, these are ES. ES. This is ZB, ZN, and ZF. Okay. The one that I trade is this one. Okay. That's why it's a little bigger. The blue column are resting orders on the exchange to buy at specific prices. So there are 2,600, between 2,600 and 2,400 orders looking to buy at 13. Okay. There is 400 people looking to sell at 13 half right now. The red column. Okay. The numbers in between those are market orders hitting into those resting orders or limit orders is what we call them, right? So this time, even though there has only been about 500 on offer, well, now there's 900, but there was 500 on offer, right? 651 bought into it, and they weren't able to clear that price. So, right, so if there's 900 there, and I buy all 900 of them, and then I put some bid at 13 half, it ticks up, like just there right now. Now they'll probably sell that 200 and it'll tick down. Oh, but actually it helped. You know what? You're not cooperating today. I'm trying to explain things, honey, and you're making it hard. Okay, so here's a potential setup though, right? There's an slightly unusually high number of offers at 14. It's 52, 53. Okay. This 13 half, usually below 1,000, there's a pretty good chance that they're going to tick down. But once you get over 1,500 is like, okay, 2,000 to 3,000 tends to hold. Okay. So what we might see is, what if this 13 half stacks to 3,000 and then they trade into this 14? What will happen? And there's a couple of different things that could happen. One thing that could happen is the guy that is, or the guys that are selling at 14 suddenly decide that they don't want to sell it anymore. And those offers pull. If that happens, then that will encourage the buyers and they'll just go right through it. Okay, so this time he's stacking up again to almost to 2,000. Okay, so he pulled. It's now 24. It's now 24. It was 53 at one point, right? And not that much is traded. Like 200 is traded this time. 500 traded the previous time. So what does that say? That offer wasn't real. So we may tick up. Now I would still like to see them trade into it and clear it and see how many traded there. But at this point I would say, okay, so they never tried to take 14, now they've downticked again and they're stacking 1,500 on it at 13.5. Kinda, does that make sense, fair? Is that a good description so far? Okay, now it's 52 again. They've had several impulses higher here in the E-mini, and it keeps holding around this 2888 area. Spoofalopolis, right? Well, now that one was actually different, right? That one was they have a big spoof and they faked pulling it and then they traded it down and put it back on there, and now we're back down 2 ticks. Because I would have been tempted to have put my stop limit in there like that. You know what I mean? Although the E-mini has been holding here for a while, it may actually end up breaking up, and that could move treasuries. So, I don't know. Well, now it's almost 8:30, so it's probably not a good time to take a trade. This whole thing in the treasuries today is pretty interesting. Because I guess they got a slew of fundamental data that I think is really positive on the economy, but also indicates that we're probably not going to get much inflation anytime soon. So that makes it really hard for me to judge what would be like fair, that move being fairly priced in, you know? And we came back to this 13.5. Somebody got stopped out at 13.5. I mean, there was a lot of... and then I think you saw somebody take profits there too. So it's a Friday. Do they say, I've got mine and it just goes dead from here? This has certainly happened to me before, right? Where I think that, man, there just seems like a lot of reason for me to trade it, and then nothing ever happens. Because at this point, there's like, they've already done the fundamental moves that they've made, and so they're just stopping out retail traders, I guess, right? So they want you to think that there's a reason to trade it when there's not. On the other hand, I could be completely wrong because, you know, the E-mini is still, it hasn't moved much at all from the open. And I thought that economic data would make it move a lot more than it has. Can't taking profits throw you off on the tape read? So I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. Um, do you mean if somebody else is taking profits that could throw me off? Or are you saying there's something about when I take profits that, it could clear the DOM or whatever and it might throw off your read? I think when if I'm like let's say I'm a big guy and I'm intentionally putting bid pressure on the market to move us up, selling, taking profit. I'm a big guy, so some big guy took some trade there, long, because the inflation expectations say that the Federal Reserve's probably not going to raise rates anytime soon, if not lower rates because inflation is just not coming. And so that's a reason to buy treasuries. So you went long somewhere way down there at like 05.5 or whatever. Okay. Then we come up to 13.5. Okay. At 13.5, there was a block buy of 3,000. Now, why would you do that? Well, maybe somebody really thinks that we're going to go up and they just want to buy everything that's there at 13.5 because they're that confident and they're okay with everybody seeing it. Okay. Possible. But if that is what happened, he didn't really get paid for it, did he? Because we haven't cleared 14. Okay. Other possibility. They want us to see that 13.5. Which is probably more, which is, a good theory. But if they wanted us to see that 13.5, why did they want us to see that 13.5? Did they want it because they wanted us to buy it? Or did they want it because they wanted us to sell? And I'm not quite sure. Although we did see that order there, and then afterwards, something like 10,000 more contracts traded at that price, right? And we've been at that price for a long time now. Okay. But another possibility is maybe it was somebody getting stopped out. Okay. So he let us see that because he really had no choice. And when you see something like that, okay, there's a big guy, he's got a position, he just got stopped out. And then after that, a lot of contracts traded. That means that the person that pushed us up here in the first place is probably no longer in the market. So if that is the case, do we really have a reason to have a position ourselves now? Right? And especially on a Friday, man, I've screwed this up so many times, so I think I know it better than anybody. They'll get their initial move and they make their money and they go home early. And then you see all this stuff and you're excited because it's been moving. And then all of a sudden it's like all of your trades start losing for no reason. And it's, they go into this range bound chop. It's like because they went home. And also remember that this time period between 8:30 and 9 o'clock tends to really suck. Anytime that I take a trade, like if I'd be short at 13.5, that's the trade that I think I would have taken. I'd still be waiting for a fill at 12.5 on my first contract. For how long now? And any time that I sit there and I wait on a trade like that, because I usually have to go before 9 o'clock. I want to be at work at 9:30, right? I can push it. Some days I've pushed it, right? If it's 9:30 and I'm still here, then I'm probably not making it there today. No, but I can work from home. Anyways, so yeah, there's almost every time that I sit there and do that one, it never goes. And then closer to 9:30 when the London session closes, the London traders close their positions, and then finally I get the move that I want. So based on all of that, I'd say there's a pretty good chance that we sit here and do nothing. And then after between 9 and 9:30, we have a little move back probably to 11. Something like that. That's what I think we're looking at right now. Okay, well, the E-mini did finally fail 88. But the delta is still a lot higher. If it's too late for me to take a trade now, but well, not only is it too late to take a trade, but it's still kind of like, the E-mini never did it, so why would it do it now? But the thing that I was kind of looking for, and maybe it will still happen, is we'll move down a little bit towards those lows, and we'll get another kind of stop action that is close to the previous low. It might even be past it, but you want to see stops, and then maybe we could take it long. That's what the trade that I was trying to make. The first one, you know what? I took it, and I think that I had a good. I had a good trade, and it just didn't work out. I still didn't really get a good answer about what were some things that were maybe made that a bad trade. And I think that some of you guys are maybe just talking about the fact that, it gave me quite a bit of favorable ticks and then I didn't take the profit. But I was looking for more than just, 12 ticks, right? I was hoping for a swing. Oh well. Because to really do well with my strategy in equities, you occasionally are going to need to get a runner. I guess everybody is already in and wants some profit. I noticed a lot of reversals around this time. In fact, a little earlier. Yeah. No. So I've, John told me this once that between 10:15 and 10:30, so it's 10:37 Eastern time right now, that there is a higher probability of a reversal in that time period. They haven't done it in a while, but I had somebody talk to me on the forums and they wanted to make an indicator that was like taking the average of the price action over the past X days to see if there was some indication that it was going to do something at that particular time. And for the most part, it was just noise, except for between 8:15 and 8:30. There was a probability of a reversal. So, but I haven't seen it do it in a while. I don't know what's with that. Hi, Randy. Hey, I haven't seen you in a few days. Or maybe it's been more than a few days. I don't know. How's it going, though? Well, I tell you what, I feel a little disappointed that I never caught a good trade in the E-mini. But this trade in the 10-year was good. I'm actually really surprised that got filled, but it was a legit fill. It sucks that those ones didn't work out on with earlier in the week. But hey, what you gonna do, right? And then this one, hey, it was an okay trade. Didn't go. That's okay. Maybe I could have tried taking it along again after that news, but it wasn't like you got a ton out of it, right? 80, I could have gotten 86 to maybe 90. So maybe I could have got 4 points. Could have gotten 16 ticks, I guess. It's not anything amazing. So that one scratched. And I guess we're actually really 120 once you add in the commissions. So this position window doesn't show you the commissions. But yeah. So, oh yeah. So I'm going to be gone next week. Or at least I'm not going to be streaming, okay? Because I'm going to be in Oklahoma City. I'm going to take my work laptop with me. Probably still going to wake up early just because I wake up early. And, they're Central Time, so.
just visiting my in-laws. So I'll still be around. I'll still, post my opinion on charts, at least in the Discord. So if you have not ever clicked that link in the video description to go and check out the Discord, now would be a good time to do that. So we won't be streaming, but we'll still be in Discord. So that would be a good place to talk to people and get some stuff. There's some other people streaming, so maybe can check other people out too. That's cool. I want to develop the trader community on YouTube. I think that that's a good thing. So just come back when the week is over and we're streaming again. I used to use footprint charts, wondering if Jigsaw is better. Live action. So, what you get in Jigsaw is pretty much the same thing as a footprint chart. It's just a footprint chart is kind of a higher time frame. So it depends on what you're trading. I think that if you want to trade the 10-year treasury, then you got to use Jigsaw, because being able to see how much it takes to clear each price and the pulls and all that sort of a thing, I think is really, really valuable. But if you want to swing trade, or you're trading the E-mini, for instance, there's a lot of tools in the E-mini that are really good for Jigsaw too. Peter Davies, he trades the E-mini. So it's really designed for him to see stuff in the E-mini. But, you can do well with footprint charts too. But, it's order flow is a super subjective thing, So, I don't know. It also kind of depends on what you're using right now. Like if you're using Sierra charts, you can set Sierra charts to be almost the same as what we've got in Jigsaw here. So, in fact, some of the Sierra chart indicators that I've seen people write up on their own to show, what to be an equivalent of the Vista chart, I thought showed some things that were pretty good edges. So, Smash the Bid showed us the one where he's able to see when they make a stack to try and push it up and then reverse. Keith used to have one that he would use to show him what the max that price got instead of just what the close was, and that was useful. Anyways, as long as you got something that shows, is Jigsaw better than Ninja? I would say so, but the problem with Jigsaw is that it doesn't have full charts, right? So I use both. But I'm just using the non-licensed version of Ninja Trader, essentially, to do it, and doing all of my executions on Jigsaw. That's the way that I'm doing it. But if you had to buy just one of them, it kind of, again, it depends on what you're going to do. Footprint charts are a lot easier to read than Jigsaw and some of the other competitors out there. It depends on what you want to do and how you trade. Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't want to say that footprint charts are easy to read. Maybe easier, I don't know. But it's a super subjective thing, isn't it? I used to have a footprint chart that I had kind of written in. Does not have what? So Jigsaw does not have real charts, right? I can see the order flow from the time period that I've been watching it in the Vista chart. But if I want to look at like a volume profile chart like this thing over here in the lower right corner, which I think is a very important tool to plan your day out, you can't do that with just Jigsaw. So probably if you got Jigsaw, you can do what I do, right? Use Jigsaw for the execution in the DOM and just have Ninja Trader running on sim data or something for your charts. A lot of traders that use different order book from charting. Yeah. The thing I would say is, mm, Jigsaw has the best DOM. No question about it. Jigsaw has the best DOM. Okay. Um, Sierra Charts is the most flexible. Sierra Charts, they have just about everything, and it's cheap. I think that most of our guys end up going to Sierra Charts. Okay. Um, NinjaTrader has the best charts. There's a lot of problems with NinjaTrader, including stability. But if you want to go and download lots of indicators and try a bunch of different things and stuff, you got to go with NinjaTrader, man, because that's everybody makes the indicators for NinjaTrader. If you have money to spend and you just want the very best, then you go to Trading Technologies, right? And then there's a bunch of other packages that I've never used and I can't really give an opinion on. But I like Jigsaw. The downside to Jigsaw is, it's like $600 to start or whatever, and you have to pay a monthly fee. So I guess it's a little more expensive, but has the best DOM. Live Action says, I find all of the platforms I've used and seen all give different order volume. I still don't know which is best. So the question I would have for you, or I don't know if we have enough time to like really go deep into it because I got to go here in like 5 to 10 minutes. But what you see in the order flow, especially for the level 2 and like changes to the level 2, is not a complete representation of what's happening on the exchange. Orders are being stacked and pulled so quickly on the exchange that if they actually sent every piece of data to you, you would never, your computer wouldn't be able to handle it. And the data provider wouldn't be able to send it to you. So both Rhythmic and CQG aggregate things. And every once in a while, it's kind of weird, but every once in a while, they will be different. So if you were testing different platforms with different data providers, yeah, you'll see that. We've done that before where we had one guy with Rhythmic and one guy with CQG, and we'd be like, okay, how many do you see at 09.5? And it would be a little bit different. Or how many did you see trade here? And it would be a little bit different. But it's only like within, tens. So it's pretty insignificant difference. Is there a duplication of data cost subscription with Jigsaw or NinjaTrader or whatever other combination? Okay, good question. So with yes, there is. If you want to have two things connected to the same connection at the same time, then there's like a $10 fee a month or something like that. And I think that that's true of both Rhythmic and CQG. Now, Jigsaw, they built the bridge to get around that. So if you have, you pipe it into NinjaTrader, and then you get the data into Jigsaw. Now, the reason that I don't do that is because I don't have a NinjaTrader license. So I wouldn't be able to place live trades with that. I'd only be able to trade sim trades. Oh, is it $5 a month? Okay, it's $5 a month. It's not a significant amount. Okay. Or the other thing that you can do is if you can convince your broker to give you a sim account too, then you can connect one to your regular data and you can connect one to the sim. And as long as it's not like a limited time sim, you're fine. $5 for 2 logins through MT brokerage. So there's a couple of different ways to do it, but yeah, if you could have NinjaTrader connect to it and Jigsaw connect to it separately and pay the $5 fee and just do your executions on Jigsaw and use the Okay, now the E-mini finally goes off. So that was the move that I was expecting to see. And I was looking maybe for 90. Actually, that's not what I was looking for. What was I looking for? I was looking for somewhere in the range of 94. Well, above the open. Let's say the open. You'd take it off at the open. I guess that trade would have eventually worked, but it was after 8:30, so doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Nicholas says, crystal clear. Good deal. Live action. I found the tape slower than watching the inside bid ask changed in the ladder. Yeah, well, that could be a couple of different things. So just as an example here in Jigsaw, there's the update interval and there's the update interval prints, you know. So I could set these both to 1. And that'll change. Yeah. That'll change the inside of it a little bit. It's kind of hard for me to tell. I don't notice a difference. Although Jigsaw says that setting it to 1 is like not there's no point in that. I think let's do this at like 10 and 5 milliseconds. I think I can handle that. But I've found almost every day, if I can show you this. Here, let me do it like this so that you don't get weird artifacts. Here's my OBS. And you see here I have stats, and since streaming today, I've dropped about 100 frames. So every once in a while, you get a really big spike in when that happens. Jigsaw eats up tons of CPU to process it as quickly as possible. And so over here, you never notice anything, but over here, you get a dropped frame or two. And nobody's ever complained about it, so I don't know if you guys can even tell on your end, but so that's one thing that can happen. Different data providers can be different. Jigsaw is a little bit faster and more responsive than other ones, especially versus like NinjaTrader is so slow. It seems like that's one of the disadvantages of using the bridge, is there is a little bit of a delay. Probably not big enough a deal to mess up your trading or anything, but enough of a deal that you might notice it and it might bother you. And what else was I going to say? I haven't really used the other platforms, so I can't tell you, but there's going to be differences, right? Whether that difference would make a trade profitable or not profitable is questionable. Here you can see remember I said short 13.5, and then maybe we would get to 11. Ka-ching! But it happens after 8:30, and I do not like holding trades after 8:30. Because for all we know, it was going to take another 30 minutes before that move happened. Okay. Anyways, I think that's all the questions for now. So again, if you haven't gone to the Discord, all you do is click the link. Discord is like a web application. There's a desktop application, but it's a web application. You go in and you don't even actually start using it and look at the room. I think maybe I do have it so that you have to register with an email. That's probably right. But that's all you got to do. And then you can be in the Discord, so you can always chat with us in there. And if you have other questions, you can always just message me directly. And I have it on my phone, and as soon as I see it, I try and respond to every private message that I get on Discord. And get people every day. Lots of good chats. So yeah, if you haven't checked out the Discord, check it out now, because we will not be streaming next week. We'll be back the week after that, but we're not going to be streaming next week. I will still be in Discord. Make sure you give this video a like, so that because it was a good day and I thought there was a lot of good information, and we want this to be the video that everybody gets recommended. I don't know why, but it's been recommending my bad videos. It's like you guys like the drama and you tune in and watch those ones. Anyways, also, if you're subscribed, make sure you hit the bell icon because that will make it easier for you to see when we're going live. And then you won't miss the beginning part where we kind of set the stage for the day and decide what we're going to do. So that's good. And I think that's about it. Oh yeah, leave a comment on the video later. Come back, watch the video, leave a comment about how you did today. All right, so I just don't want to leave because I enjoy talking to you guys so much, but I'm not going to see you for a whole week. But it's okay. We'll be back in a week. In the meantime, stay profitable, friends. It's summer. Be careful. It gets choppy, right? Later.